55 countries, but only one nation can dominate Europe. Who will it be? Welcome to the brand new episode of the UEFA European Nations Imperialism.
AlpacaUnited.
First, we decide who is attacking. In this case, Bulgaria. Then we spin the wheel with all of Bulgaria's neighbors to decide who they are attacking. Here, Romania. Bulgaria has to win to take over Romania. If they draw or even lose, they lose their own land instead. The attackers from Bulgaria lose 2-1, so they are erased from the map and Romania take over their land. The Romanians also get Bulgaria's best player. Despodov is now a Romanian. Next is Iceland, who will face either the Faroe Islands, Scotland, or Ireland. They attack Ireland and lose by a single goal, so they also lose their land to Ireland. And Gudmundsson is now an Irishman. The Ukraine, among all their neighbors, attack Poland, win by 1-0, and extend their territory to the west while also giving Lewandowski the Ukrainian citizenship. Andorra attacks Spain, lose by 2-1, so Spain invade Andorra and take over this guy here who will not even play a minute for Spain in his life. Next, Israel can only attack the closest island, Cyprus, win 5-1 against them, and invade Cyprus while also adding their best player, Kistanos, to their own squad. Belarus attack Lithuania, win by 1-0, and take over their land alongside this guy here. The Faroe Islands, who could face Scotland, Norway, or Ireland, take on Scotland, lose clearly by 4-0, and lose their land and this lad to the Scottish. Next, Malta, who can only attack Italy, gets smacked with a result of 6-1. Malta is now part of Italy, and so is Teddy Tuma. The next attacker, San Marino, can also only attack their neighbor, Italy, are defeated by 2-0, and Italy continue to take over the small countries and ship players. Now Portugal, whose only neighbor is Spain, draw against them and lose their country to the Spanish. Bernardo Silva, who has the best rating in Portugal's squad, is now Spanish. Northern Ireland attack their only on-land neighbor, the Republic of Ireland, lose by 3-0, and the Republic of Ireland take control over the whole Irish island and add Johnny Evans to their squad. In the next match, the Netherlands face Germany and lose with a score of 1-0. The Germans take over the Netherlands, but more importantly, they add Virgil van Dijk to their squad. Having been attacked, the Germans themselves attack now and try to take over the Czech Republic. But they lose with a score of 2-1, so the Czech Republic takes over the whole land that belongs to Germany, alongside their best player, Ter Stegen. Since Germany had already eliminated the Netherlands before, the Czech also take over their best player that the Germans got from the Dutch. Van Dijk is also a Czech now. Next, Italy face Austria, win by 2-1, invade their land, and add David Alaba to their squad. The homeland of the best chocolate, Switzerland, attack the wine-loving French, are beaten with a score of 4-1, and hand over their land as well as Manuel Akanji to the Equipe Tricolore. Next, Latvia attack Belarus, manage to beat them by 2-1, take control over their land, and add Ebong to their squad. Since Belarus had already invaded another nation before, Lithuania was erased from the map by them. Latvia can also add the player to their squad that Belarusians got from Lithuania. The next attacker is Denmark, and they could either attack the expanded Czech Republic or Sweden, since there is a connecting bridge between the cities of Copenhagen and Malmö. They attack the Czech Republic, but lose 2-1 and are erased from the map. Moreover, Christensen is now a Czech citizen. North Macedonia attacks their neighbors from Kosovo, draw the match with a score of 1 both, and by this lose their land alongside their best player, Elmas, to Kosovo. The next attackers are the Scots, and they could attack either England or the Republic of Ireland. The wheel decides that they'd attack the Irish. They win this match by 2-1 and erase the Irish from the map. They also add Kelleher and Gudmundsson, who the Irish got from Iceland, to their squad. Next, Turkey will attack either Romania, who invaded Bulgaria before, Greece, Israel, who invaded Cyprus, the Azeris, who they have a very short border with, Armenia, or Georgia. The Wheel of Fortune tells them to attack the Greek, and they beat them by 2-1. With this victory, they claim the Greek land and add the Liverpool player Tsimikas to their squad. Now Slovenia attacks Hungary, wins by scoring 3 goals, and the next Liverpool player changes his nationality. The already expanded Ukraine, who could take on several new neighbors they do not have in real life, are drawn to play against the also expanded Czech Republic with Ter Stegen and Van Dijk. The Ukrainians managed to win by 3-0, so they further expand to Central Europe, and, more importantly, add the best-rated Czech player, Patrik Schick, and Virgil van Dijk, who changes his nationality for the third time, to their squad. The Ukraine continue their attack and now try to invade Italy, but this time they lose by 2-1, and Italy take over all the land that belongs to the Ukraine by now. In addition, they add the best real Ukrainian player, Zinchenko, as well as the best player that the Ukrainians themselves got from other teams to their squad. The next attacker, Israel, can only attack Turkey, lose by 2 goals, and the Turkish take over Cyprus as well as Israel, and can add Solomon and Kastanos to their squad. The Estonians attack Russia, are defeated by 1-0, and Russia takes over Estonia alongside the St. Pauli player Karol Metz. Italy, who already dominate half of Europe, could attack several different countries, and among those, attack Belgium, manage to win by 3-1, expand their territory, and add Kevin De Bruyne to their squad. Next, Gibraltar attacks Spain, loses by 6 goals, are erased from the map, and another player who will never play a single match for Spain becomes a Spanish citizen. Montenegro, who attacks Bosnia, can only draw against them and lose their territory as well as Stefan Savic to the Bosnians. The next attacker is France, and they could face Spain, Liechtenstein, Italy, Luxembourg, or England. They attack the English, and England beats France with a stunning score of 4-0. So England expands to continental Europe now and add Manuel Akanji that the French got from the Swiss earlier, as well as Kylian Mbappe to their squad. Now the English have tasted blood. They could attack Wales, Scotland, Luxembourg, Italy, Liechtenstein, or Spain next. They attack Spain, can only achieve a 1-1 draw against them, and are erased from the map. Spain takes over all the land that England owns by now. And more importantly, they can add 2 new world-class strikers to their squad, Harry Kane and Kylian Mbappe. Serbia attacks Bosnia, wins by 3-0, erases the Bosnians from the map, and adds Dzeko and Sevic to their squad. The Russians attack Kazakhstan and fail to win against them. So Kazakhstan takes over Russia and adds Golovin and Karol Metz to their national team. Next, Wales, who can only attack Spain, lose by 4-0, and Spain continue to expand their territory and add new players to their squad. Turkey attacks Albania, wins with a result of 5-1, erases Albania from the map, and makes Jimsiti a Turkish player now. The recently expanded Kazakhstan could face Norway, Finland, Latvia, Italy, Georgia, or Azerbaijan, and attack Norway from the north. The Norwegians win 4-2, take over all of Kazakhstan, including the former land of Russia, and add this guy alongside the former Russian Golovin to their squad. The Romanians attack Moldova, do not manage to beat them, and thus lose their territory to them, and the Moldovans can add 2 new players to their squad. Spain attacks Liechtenstein and only score a single goal. Still, Liechtenstein is erased from the map, and this poor guy will never play for a national team again. Finland attacks Sweden, but Sweden wins with a score of 2-0. They take over Finland and give the Leverkusen keeper Hrdecki the Swedish citizenship. The next attacker is Slovenia, and their neighbors are Slovakia, Italy, Croatia, Serbia, and Moldova. They decide to attack Serbia, but lose clearly by 3 goals. Thus, they do not only lose their territory, but also Oblak and the former Hungarian Szoboszlai to the Serbians. The small country Luxembourg, meanwhile in between Spain and Italy, attacks the hugely expanded Spanish, but get an unfortunate loss after having conceded in the 88th minute of the match. They are erased from the map, and the Mainz player Barreiro becomes a Spanish citizen. Latvia, which now lies between Norway and Italy, have to attack the Norwegians. They lose by a single goal, so Norway invades Latvia and adds those 2 guys to their Viking power. With the power of the 2 crab players, the Norwegians intend to expand their territory and can either attack Sweden, Italy, Georgia, or Azerbaijan. They decide to attack the strongest team, Italy, but they lose with a score of 3-1 and do not only hand over their territory to the Italians, but also Golovin, who they got from the Russians earlier, and Erling Haaland. The Scottish, whose only neighbor is Spain by now, lose by 4-0 against them, and Spain continues to expand its territory and adds Robertson and Kelleher to their squad. The next match is Turkey against Azerbaijan, and the Turkish win by 2-0. Besides expanding their territory, this guy here will play for the Turkish national team now. In the next match, Armenia will either face Turkey or Georgia. They decide to attack Turkey, but the Turkish again win with the same score they beat the Azeris with, 2-0, They further expand their territory to the east, and the Inter player Mkhitaryan is now Turkish. Croatia attacks its only neighbor Serbia, but lose by 2 goals. So Serbia invades Croatia and adds Luka Modric to their squad. Georgia, meanwhile lying between Italy and Turkey, decide to attack the Turkish in the south. But they are beaten by 3-0, are erased from the map, and must give away Kvaratskhelia to the Turkish. Moldova, whose current neighbors are Italy in the north, Serbia in the west, Kosovo in the southwest, and Turkey in the south, attack the Italians. They lose by a single goal and must give away their land as well as these 2 players to the Italians. Italy, who have a border to all of the remaining countries, attack the weakest out of those, Kosovo. They win with a score of 3-0, expand their territory, and add the 2 Napoli players, Romani and Elmas, to their squad. Turkey is attacking next, and their neighbors are Italy and Serbia. The Turkish decide to attack Italy but can't manage to beat the Italians. So Italy invades Turkey and adds Calhanoglu and Kvaratskhelia to their squad. Spain attacks next, and the only neighbor is Italy. So we have a match that could even be the final of this imperialism in terms of quality. Spain managed to win it and erase Italy from the map. This victory also gives the Spanish 2 world-class players, Marco Verratti and the former Belgian Kevin De Bruyne. Sweden is the next attacker, and they only border Spain. Spain managed to beat the Swedish easily and further expand their territory and their squad. Now there are only 3 countries left: Spain, Slovakia, and Serbia. So let's roll the wheel to find out who the next attacker is. And it's Slovakia attacking the Serbians. Who will be in the very last match of this UEFA Nations Imperialism? The Serbians win with a result of 3-1. They do not only take control of Slovakia's land, but can also improve their team with Skriniar, who could definitely help them in defense against the Spanish in the very last match. Finally, it's time to decide who takes control over the whole continent Europe. Will it be Serbia or will it be Spain? But first, we have to find out who is attacking and who is defending. It's the Serbians who are attacking, and Spain will be defending. That means a draw is even enough for Spain to claim all of Europe. Serbia, on the other hand, have to win. Before we simulate the very final match, let me know in the comments down below which team you think will win the final. But now, let's see who claims all of Europe to themselves.
Yes!
Congratulations, Spain! They invade the last remaining country in Europe. Having started with 55 nations, Spain is the country to rule over the whole continent now. Do not forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. And join Alpaca United. Be an alpaca, because alpacas are the new goats.